Hello, welcome, I'm Izzy at Minerva. We're going to be looking at how to hack our very own Emma top sewing pattern today, and in this particular hack we are going to play around with colour blocking, which is really fun. This technique is one that is really easy to pattern draft, but something that's quite often just overlooked when we're looking at pattern drafting, so I thought it'd be really fun to show it to you today. It is like so simple and so effective. We've picked 3 different colours of fabric that we're going to play around with together, and if you're going to be colour blocking today, I would highly recommend that you use the same weight, so same base cloth for all of your fabrics so that they sew together really nicely. For example, I'm going to be using our bamboo cotton jersey today, and I've just picked 3 colours from that range, so just make sure that you're picking 2 or 3 colours that are all from the same type of fabric. Okay, so what are we actually going to do today? We're going to be looking at the basic top, which you can see here, that's the Emma top, and basically we're just going to draw some lines and create some colour blocking. So we're going to be doing this. We're going to create a nice strong V down the centre front, and then we're also going to play around with the back as well. And then we're also going to be adapting the sleeve to add a little bit of drama in there. This is going to be so much fun, and I absolutely cannot wait to get into this with you. So what do you need to sew today? Well, there's a list of pattern drafting tools next to me here, so follow along with those and grab those. You're obviously going to need your Emma top sewing pattern, so go and grab that from our Minerva website if you've not purchased that already. Then I want you to cut out your size, that's what I've done, and then you can just follow step by step with each of the steps I'm going to show you how I'm going to draft and alter the pattern. You can follow along with this no matter what size you are, so yeah, just enjoy the process and just do it step by step with me. Don't forget that as always with these videos, you can pause, you can slow down, you can speed up, so you are in complete control of this video and the speed that we sew along with today. Once we've adapted the pattern pieces, I am then going to cut out the fabric and show you any steps that alter from the original sewing instructions. So there'll be a few of those. However, if you want further help with what type of fabric to choose, or any of the original sewing pattern instruction steps, or even what size to cut out, we have 3 fantastic videos on our Minerva YouTube channel that do talk about all those topics. So take a look at those if you want some further support. Okay, let's get straight on into it. To start off with, we're going to work with creating that side panel and splitting up the front and the back. So on the screen in front of me, we've got the bodice front here, pattern piece A, and the back here, B. The first thing we're going to do is to remove the 1.5 centimetre seam allowance to both side seams. If you're working at home, grab a sharp pencil. I've got a thick pen here, just so you can see at home what I'm doing nice and clearly on the screen. So to start off with, draw a line that's 1.5 centimetres offset from the side seam on both pattern pieces. Remove the side seam from the back. Pick up your back pattern piece and just lay it over until this side touches the seam allowance. Line it up with the top underarm and also down at the bottom. Now you'll probably realise that there's a slight kink there. It's not completely straight, but it doesn't really matter because it's jersey fabric. So we're just going to design this as if it's a straight side seam. Now just tape that seam down together. Now the next part is all about design aesthetics. So really this is up to you. I'm just going to keep it really straightforward and simple. So working on the front pattern piece, we could create a sort of a curvy shape, or we could create a straight shape. It really doesn't matter, but what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and tie in with this arm side notch up here. I'm going to mark a point that is like 10 centimetres in along the hem down there, and line up my ruler with the notch and that 10 centimetre point. So look, we've got a really nice sort of straight line coming down now from the arm side. That is going to look really cute. Same on the back. Then just cut along those 2 lines that you've just drawn. Now, next I'm just going to put a few notches, one down there. It doesn't really matter where you put them. I'm going to do double notches on the back, just so we've got some reference points when we sew it together. It's quite easy to forget which is the front and the back on the side seam now that we put it together. So it's good to have double notch in the back, single on the front. Now what we're going to do is literally just lift up that centre piece and just push it down to one side. And next, what we need to do is to add a seam allowance to this side, to this one from the notch down, and to this one, so that we can sew them all together. Okay, so add some little strips of paper and then add in and draw in your 1.5 centimetre seam allowance. Cut out your new pattern pieces with the seam allowance included. Once you've done that, just transfer your notches across to your side seams into your seam allowance so that you don't lose track of where those are, forget to cut them out later. Okay, that's basically the main body done. We just need to annotate those pattern pieces so we don't forget which is which. So yeah, cut one on fold is still correct for this one. For this one, we need to put side bodice, cut 2. And now on this one, the grain line is going to actually follow the side seam here. Perfect. And then this one again is back, cut one on fold. Perfect. Okay, now let's move on to the sleeve. So this is our sleeve pattern piece. Now we could draw a line straight down and split the pattern piece into 2 and have one colour and one side the other colour. We could draw a line, you know, halfway up or a little lower down and split it into 2 that way, so it's, you know, light and dark or whatever 2 different colours. But because our other pattern piece on the front, it's got that kind of like V shape, hasn't it? And so from a design perspective, I'd quite like to pick up on that angular line for this pattern piece as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw a line straight across like this, from that lower notch there, all the way across, just like that. And at this point again, I'm just going to add 2 little notches, just to help me when I sew it together, because jersey does stretch a lot, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to repeat the same process as we did for the front. We're going to cut along that line, open it up, create seam allowance, and off we go. Draw in your side seams. Cut out your pattern pieces, redraw in those notches, and then annotate your pattern piece again. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. Sleeve top cut 2, grain line follows the same direction as the original pattern piece, and this is the sleeve bottom, and we're going to cut 2 with our nice little notches and extra side seam. Really simple. Okay, let's start to sew that together now. As I sew up my garment today, I've got 3 gorgeous little colours here. All of these fabrics are part of our Minerva core range bamboo cotton jersey. So these fabrics are the light pink, the dusky pink and the rose pink fabrics. They're all the same weight, so as you can see they're all the same sort of texture, made from the same base, and they've got a really nice stretch, as you can see. So we are going to have fun sewing those up together today. As you follow along with me today, obviously go and cut out your own fabric and then come back and join me. I'll be showing you and demonstrating the steps that alter from the original sewing instructions, and then we'll take a look and see what it looks like. Okay, let's get going. Okay, so as we look at the instructions, we can sort out the back neck seam, steps 1 through to step 5, exactly as per the booklet. And then we can also do step 6, which is overlocking the top and sewing the shoulder seams together, because none of those elements have actually changed with the design that we ended up doing. So you can do all of those steps. Is once we get to step 10, which is sewing the side seams together, that's the bit that you need to come back and join me, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now we've got the front panel piece attached to the back, we've done the neckband, and we've also attached the shoulders. So we are now effectively at step 10. We don't have one side seam, but we do have a number of different side seams. So we've got this side panel to add in, haven't we? So let's do that now. So go and grab your side bodice pattern piece. We've got a double notch at the back seam and a single notch at the front seam, which will line up with our double notch at the back and our single, oh, that's the back, and our single notch at the front. So take one of the side panels and make sure you've got right sides together. I'm just going to lay the side panel over the front. I'm just going to line those notches to start off with. And then just continue to pin as many pins as you feel you need to secure those 2 pieces together. While you're in the process of pinning, grab your other pattern piece and make sure it's right sides together, and again align the other side pattern piece and place it right sides together on top of the front panel. Pin in place. Now sew those two seams using your standard seam allowance and overlock or finish using your preferred method. Okay, wonderful. So that's all been pressed now and sewn. Then we're just going to push one side in so you can see we've got one side panel here, and we're going to pull the back over and just line up that side seam, lining up those twin sets, those double sets of double notches. So line up and pin those notches first, and then just pin the remainder of the seam. Okay, and once you've done one side seam, pick up the back pattern piece, which you've already just pinned down to one side seam, and then pop it on top of the other side panel seam over here, and again just line up those double notches to start off with and pin that seam in place. Next, of course, we're just going to sew using our standard seam allowance and finish using our preferred method. Okay, so now we have sewn all of those panels together, we have basically got one gorgeous complete dress, just like that. So we've got the basics of our dress now sewn together. So we have effectively now done step 10, which is amazing in like multiple steps. What we're going to do now is prepare our sleeves. So let's do that next. So we've got our top and we've got our bottom. So to start off with, we're just going to get our two complete sleeves lined up like this. So make sure you've got the right sides facing up on the screen. And then with right sides together, just fold them over, match up those little notches and pin those seams in place. Do the same for the other sleeve and then just sew those two using a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance and finish using your preferred method. Wonderful, and there we have it, two sleeves sewn together. So basically now you can just treat this as one sleeve. Don't forget to press the seam allowance up or down, doesn't really matter, just press it one way to give it a nice crisp finish on the outside. Okay, and now that our sleeves are done, we're now just going to attach them using the same steps as the instructions, 11, 12 and all the way to the end. There are no other sewing alterations or further sewing steps that we need to do together. So just continue sewing as per the instruction booklet and then let's take a look and see what it looks like. So here we have our gorgeous colour block top. This geometric colour blocking is looking really dramatic and completely changes the way the garment looks. We've not actually made any like shape changes to the pattern pieces. All we've done is just added style lines and then used our fabric colour combination to create such a stunning and gorgeous little hack. I do hope you've enjoyed that today. That's been really fun for you to follow along at home and that you're full of inspiration as to what to do with your Emma top sewing pattern. Don't forget you can create an account on our Minerva website where you can share your makes that you guys are making at home. We would love to see what you're creating here at Minerva, so please do upload your garments and show us what you've been making at home. Thanks for joining me today. I've been Izzy at Minerva and I'll see you next time.